Hey everybody, welcome to this is our podcast for those of you who are watching or listening to my podcast. I would highly recommend that you find the YouTube link. I will make sure to drop it in the show notes to make sure you're able to watch what I'm about to tell you. Because here's the thing, with the alkaline method, we have the four essential elements that really goes into the area of the mind that is completely subconscious, which means we're not even aware of our tendencies. That's what I call the subconscious mind. Now, each of the elements, remember, has the three pillars. And then really the subconscious mind has the three pillars, and it can be applicable physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually with any of these pillars within each of the elements of the alkaline method. Today's topic is really about the first two elements of the alkaline method that I teach through the Functional Yoga Medicine Certification Program, as well as in me teaching our yoga classes here in brick and mortar at Suwanee, Georgia, as well as to apply it within my patient care with my autoimmune health transformation patients. So with that being said, I really wanted to really break down the journey, right? Because so often we think yoga is the end expression of the pose. And there's so many beautiful bodies with physical attributes with these beautifully lean and strong bodies that are bendy, and really balancing into some inhumane positions as to leave the rest of the population who might be new to yoga, in fact, who needs it the most, shies away from coming to the actual studio because they're intimidated. And the first thing that they tell us, their concern is that they're not flexible, they've never done yoga, they don't want to be intimidated, right? But really, healing is a journey. Yoga is not the destination. In fact, the final expression doesn't even matter. It's the growth that happens from the start. So any part of the pose, is the motto that I stand by. And what's the most important is that you activate your muscles and really connect the mind to the body so that your really spirit can take seat in the mind. Really, the yogis knew it best. We did asanas to quiet the mind, to allow all the metabolic waste to be metabolized, eliminated, and detoxified so that our mind can take seat in our body to meditate and silence our minds. With that being said, one of our really seasoned yogis in a hot yoga class, it's kind of advanced but beginner to advanced built into our hot alkaline sequence. And as I saw, he was a patient, and I knew that he had cervical radiculopathy, meaning he had a lot of neck issues. And I saw the reason why, because he happened to, during this class on Saturday, stand behind me. So I was able to see what was going on, and it was in a downward dog. And let me just really make it clear that he's been coming for a long time, is really, really strong, but I can see there's some compensatory patterns that was knocking him way off to the end range of motion and really collapsing. So I want to really talk about and break down the Surya Namaskar A and B today if we have time, and then really take it really slow to explain how the alkaline method can be applied, and then take it really slow to understand the structures that really stabilize the movement that we seek to make in our bodies. Because at the end of the day, why do you practice yoga? Why do you want to be fit and lean? You want to be healthy. We don't want to kind of pose like these self-restrictions or self-punishments in the way of caloric intakes and restrictions and all the things that goes along with body image issues that we all have to an extent. We want us to have really strong body that enables us to do stuff in this world. The reason why we're all here, this is the only house that we'll ever own, and I want you to make sure that you're inspired to maintain health of it. So come to the top of your mat, and I want you to inhale deep, really raise your arms up overhead, gaze up. Really find your anchor point, the number one pillar in the subconscious mind element of the Alkaline Method. Exhale, fold forward, palms to the mat. And make sure that you're aligned, the knees above your ankles, hips above your knees, navel to the spine, spine coming all the way down. Inhale, strong lift of your chest, keeping a slight micro bend in the knees. Palms super flat. Right foot step way back, high onto the right toes. Left foot all the way back, high onto the left foot, and really stabilize the shoulder by pushing the floor away. The anchor points or foundation are my two hands and my toes. And aligned, ankle or my wrist under my elbows and elbows under my shoulders, navel pulled in, and really keep high on my toes, really rounding my spine, activating my muscles to create this polarity. And I'm going to find my breath, which is the second pillar of the Alkaline Method, the second element of the Alkaline Method, and really find my balance. And I'm going to choose to lower my knees, graze the elbows down by my side, really graze it down. And then I want to push down to lift up and gaze up. Sink my hips all the way back. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, press back, downward dog. This is your downward dog. And so a lot of the times people sink into their shoulders and utilize their flexibility to get into a downward dog. So I usually say the shoulders, the armpit. You don't sink into the armpit. You want the tailbone with the crown of your head to be in one line. So if you're hyper arched, making a convex curve in your spine towards the floor, I want you to slightly round, come out of the downward dog a little bit to round your spine. Find your hands and your 2 feet, right? Those are your anchor points, base of support. From there, I want you to be aligned. Spiral the biceps forward, triceps back. And this can be really fatiguing. It's easy when you hang on your bones, but when you actually activate your muscles, it's super hard. Pushing the floor away, finding my foundation, which is my both hands and my feet. In my hands, I'm not dumping all the weight onto my wrists, but I'm pushing down through all 5 fingertips and really hollowing out the space under my knuckles. And pushing down, finding my core, pushing the floor away to activate my shoulder girdle to keep the weight off of my hands. And then I'm aligned, right? Hands to my tailbone is making a straight line because I want that to be a straight line, not a curved line bent towards the floor. And then from the tailbone down to the heels is another line, right? And so from there, I find my alignment and then the core. So I find my core by really pulling the navel in towards my spine. Find my polarity between my hands and my tailbone, tailbone down to the heels. Find my breath, second element of the second pillar of the second element of the Alkaline Method, which is the conscious mind. And then find my balance, the third pillar of the second element of the Alkaline Method, which is balance, left and right balance. And then gaze forward, right foot forward, and left. Strong lift of your chest. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Moving slow will allow you to activate your muscles a lot more. And exhale. Inhale up, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward. Keep a micro bend in the knee if you need. Palms to the mat. Inhale, strong lift of your chest forward, gaze forward, palms flat. This time, left foot back, high on the left toes. Right foot back, high on the right foot. And if you can do a chaturanga, I want you to really push the floor away and be honest about should you keep your knees down. There's no shame in modifying. I do want you to really utilize, and if you can see my elbows, you can see my triceps and my delts and biceps really breaking. And I'm using my biceps and my triceps and my shoulder girdle to make a break, right? Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward dog, and breathe. And the third one, I will do the full chaturanga expression, but I wanted to break down so you guys can understand how to apply the foundation, the base of support, the first pillar, and then the second pillar, which is the alignment, and then the third pillar of the Alkaline Method, the first element of the Alkaline Method, subconscious mind, is the core. And moving into the second element of the Alkaline Method, the first pillar is the polarity, push and pull in the body. We're always creating a push and pull. So pushing the floor away through the palms of my hands, tailbone extends, not sinking into my shoulders, but really pulling out, rounding that space between my shoulder blades to push the floor away, staying long in my neck, and really finding that polarity from the crown of my head to the tailbone down to the heels. Find my breath. Because when your breath is shallow, that means you're working too hard, you're compensating. And finding my balance means, which is the third pillar of the second element of the Alkaline Methods, is really the balance, left and right symmetry. Gaze forward. This time, left foot forward between your hands. Right foot forward between your hands, pushing the floor away. Inhale, strong lift of your chest, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, gaze up, pull the navel to the spine, tuck your tailbone. Exhale, palms to the mat. Okay, I'm going to do the full sequence this time. I'm going to make sure you guys can see me. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit. So inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, strong lift of your chest. Exhale, micro bend into the knees, fold forward at the hips, palms to the mat. Inhale, strong lift of your chest, gaze up or forward, palms flat, really push down, look down. Right foot forward or jump back. Shift your weight forward, rounding your spine, keeping that strength. Keep the elbows right by your side, lower down slow. And tuck your toes down, lift up, strong arms, pushing down through all 5 fingers, lift up. Always thinking really the anchor points, foundation, alignment, core, first element, or the 3 pillars of the first element. And then the second 3 pillars of the second element, polarity, breath, and balance, right? Pushing back into downward dog. I want you to make sure that you're pushing the floor away, activating the shoulder girdle, making sure the backside of the neck stays nice and long. Keep a micro bend in the knee, tailbone straight up. You're making a triangle with your body. But if you're making a concave curve with your spine, you're doing it all wrong. I see so many patients really creating cervical radiculopathy, having paresthesia, like numbness and tingling, and really causing a lot of micro tears through time. I used to be one of them. Hypermobility was my issue, and many of you are tight, and your body is tight for a reason. It's being protective, so you want to gently lengthen and gain flexibility. You can't force it, because if you force it, you'll create micro tears in the body, which goes against why we do what we do. Gaze forward, right foot forward, or left foot forward, right foot forward. Inhale, strong lift of your chest, gaze forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, up. Gaze up. Bring your hands to heart center. Sweep your arms up. Sink your hips. Tuck your tailbone. Look down. Knees stay behind your toes. Upper body back. Tuck your tailbone slightly. Really get your base of support, which is the 2 feet. Alignment. Knees stay behind your toes. Spine nice and straight, tuck your tailbone. Create that polarity from the tailbone to the crown of your head, tips of your fingers. Rooting down from your hips all the way down, bent knee, and then rooting down through all 4 corners of your feet, right? That's your anchor points. Alignment, and then core activation, draw the navel to the spine. And those are the 3 pillars of the first element of the Alkaline Method. Second element of the Alkaline Method is the conscious mind, the polarity. And then finding your breath. The second pillar of the second element of the Alkaline Method. And then the third pillar is really the balance between left and the right. Exhale, forward. Inhale, strong lift of your chest, gaze forward, and the whole work is in, not how far I can go, but am I activating into all my joints? Using all my joints nice and slow, elbows graze down, push down to lift up. Not hyperextend, but really be conscious of the base of support, alignment, core activation, polarity, breath, and balance. Right leg straight up. Gaze forward, bend your knees into your chest, hinge forward onto your hands. Step it forward, right foot exactly between your hands. Turn your back heel in. Ground through the right foot. Strong lift of your chest, warrior one. Anchor points, both feet, knee bent. That's the alignment, core active, navel to the spine, creating polarity from my navel to my hands and the crown of my head. Navel to right and the left foot. Exhale, fold. Palms on either side of the right foot. Right foot goes back. Shift your weight forward. Strong bend of the elbows, grazing your ribs. Push down to lift up. Finding your core and all the pillars of the Alkaline Method. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Downward dog. And breathe, pushing the floor away. Left leg up. Gaze forward, bend your left knee in, and really shift your weight forward onto your hands. Place your left foot between your hands. Turn your back heel in. Ground down through the left foot. Find your anchor points. Lift your arms up. Alignment. Knee over your ankle. Knee does not pass your toes. And then the third pillar of the first element of the Alkaline Method is your core activation, navel to the spine. The first pillar of the second element of the Alkaline Method is polarity, navel to the crown of my head, as well as my fingertips. And then find my breath, which is the second pillar of the Alkaline Method, or the second element of the Alkaline Method, and then of course balance. And exhale, palms down, but really rooting through my left hip, not collapsing down, really feeling into my muscles, palms flat. High up onto the right foot, left foot back. Shift your weight forward, round your spine, lower down, slow, 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 breaking down the laws of gravity or breaking your body from falling, pushing down to lift up. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward dog, and push, push, push. And I hope you guys can see, I have the ability to go sink my spine down where I can create a concavity with my spine. This is my downward dog before. This is me now, rounding, pulling out about 10% out of the pose, understanding that it's not always the smartest thing to go the full expression of the pose. What's is really feel spaces between the messy middle, the connections that you can make, which is a lot harder than going through the motions and collapsing through each of the poses. And that's really what I wanted to emphasize for you guys. Move slow. Yoga is not a competitive sport. It's really mind-body mastery. And I can't tell you how many patients I've treated that really benefit from the practice of yoga because it finally allows them to come home. Healing is an inside job. You guys all didn't come into the world with a manual, clear-cut manual by which to know how this miraculous body of yours works. All I know is that once you all decide to occupy your own body, healing is inevitable. We start to establish homeostasis, utilizing the three pillars of the subconscious, the first element of the Alkaline Method, which is the foundation, which is the second is the element or the alignment, and then third is core values and core activation. Those are the three key pillars of the first element of the Alkaline Method. Second element of the Alkaline Method is conscious mind. And then the first pillar is the polarity, the push and pull you find in your body. And then the fifth pillar of the Alkaline Method is the breath, finding breath no matter what and being present in the moment. And then the last pillar of the Alkaline Method is balance, Physically, it's the symmetry between left and right. But really emotionally, it's all about setting boundaries, self-love, self-regard, self-respect, away from self-betrayal. And that's how you find yoga. And remember, the third element of the Alkaline Method is the functional medicine piece of the puzzle, with its 3 essential pillars under it. And then the last element of the Alkaline Method is timeless wisdom. That's where the practice of yoga and the way we define yoga is your opportunity for growth and abundance, as well as energy medicine, and then meditation and silence. And that completes the full circle. So not only can you find the clarity and the drive, like vision for where you're going, and find a clarity so that you have the drive to know exactly where you're going, and you constantly evolve and grow, and that's the circle of life. Always coming back to yourself. So I hope you enjoyed it. Write comments below and let me know anything else, any other tutorials that might be beneficial for you. And I'm going to be covering all the elements and the pillars and breaking them down through my time with you going forward to clarify our unique methodology called the Alkaline Method. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys all next week.